Welcome to A Space to Speak Your Mind,
a radio programme and podcast about mental health and well-being.
Made by people with lived experience in association with Cornwall Mind.
We do occasionally cover subjects that some listeners may find distressing.
For more information, help and support, please visit cornwallmind.org.
A Space to Speak Your Mind with Cornwall Mind for better mental health on Source FM.
This is Richard. Thanks for joining me on this month's programme. And on the show today, we're going to be talking about Mental Health Awareness Week, which runs from the 13th to the 16th of May. We'll hear from Kate Pearce from This Girl Can and Studio U on why nearly twice as many girls than boys are skipping PE lessons. And A Space to Speak Your Mind's Victoria returns to the show to tell us why dance and movement is so important for our mental health. And we welcome back Jo from Cornwall Mind. So thank you for being here, Jo.
Hi, Richard. Pleasure.
So it is Mental Health Awareness Week from the 13th to the 19th of May. So what is the theme that Mind are using this year?
So the theme for Mind is No Mind Left Behind. It's about raising awareness and funds for a society where everyone can get quality mental health care when they need it. 1 in 4 of us will experience a mental health problem, and sadly people are having to wait a long time sometimes for urgent mental health care. They aren't able to access the help that they need. So we need to change this.
So what events are happening for the week?
We're going to be running a bit of a campaign on our social media. So we're on Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn at Cornwall Mind. And we're also part of some really lovely open day events along with the NHS in West, Mid and North Cornwall. They're celebration events, giving a chance for people to connect and talk and find out more about mental health services that are on offer in Cornwall. And there'll be a range of wellbeing activities and refreshments. So look to be really good days.
And which towns are these taking place in?
They'll be in Camborne, Bodmin, and there's one around the Truro area.
And if people want to find out about them, can they get more details on the website?
Yeah, we'll be sharing again on social media and it'll be on our website on the news page.
And it is a great time to be talking about mental health for Mental Health Awareness Week. And if people are inspired, they may wish to join Cornwall Mind as a volunteer. And I know you've got a bit of a recruiting campaign going on as well.
Yes, we are. We're looking to expand our volunteer team. We rely on our fantastic team of volunteers. We literally couldn't do what we do without them, but we do need some more help. So we're looking for people to help with the wellbeing groups, which, in various locations and various time commitments. Again, we'll be sharing our adverts on social media and the website. But if people are interested, we'd really love to hear from you. We've got a volunteer page on our website and there's a form that you can fill in. Once we've got that, we'd be in touch. We're also looking for people to help with a big mental health event that we're planning later this year. So we're looking for people to help us plan and organise the event and also help on the day. Volunteering is good for us too. It helps improve our well-being, gives us a chance to connect with people, learn new skills, which can really boost our confidence and self-esteem. So we look forward to hearing from anyone that's interested.
And the overarching theme for Mental Health Awareness Week is around movement. And that's something that Cornwall Mind facilitates within a lot of their groups.
It is. We all know that regular exercise can really make us feel happier and healthier. It can reduce stress and anxiety, lift our mood, improve sleep. If you go to work, exercise maybe at lunchtime or before you start work can really help increase productivity and focus. So we really want to encourage people to move more within their abilities. And we've got some great groups to help get people started. Our 5 Ways to Wellbeing groups, our gardening groups, we've got tennis, all sorts of really good things that can really help people take those first steps to improving their mental health and well-being. And don't forget, you can refer yourself to our groups. You don't need to see a GP, you don't need to have a diagnosis. They're for anyone over 18 that feels they might benefit. And all you have to do is head over to our website, cornwallmind.org, and in the top right-hand corner, we've got a button that says referral form.
And as we get into the summer, are there more wellbeing groups that are being launched?
Yes, we're looking forward to launching some more groups. We've got a new group in Bude starting, and that will be a 6-week 5 Ways to Wellbeing programme. And we'll be rolling out some more 5 Ways to Wellbeing programmes in different locations during the summer. We also know how much music and being creative can help our mental health, so we're launching some new music groups over the next few months. And we've got some brilliant singing groups already in place. And again, everything's on our website. And don't forget to sign up to our newsletter, which will keep you updated with all the latest news and what's happening at Cornwall Mind. And you can do that at the bottom of any page on our website.
So lots of information there, and if people subscribe to the newsletter, they'll get all the details first. So thank you, Jo, for telling us about Mental Health Awareness Week.
Thank you, Richard.
A Space to Speak Your Mind.
This is A Space to Speak Your Mind, and it is Mental Health Awareness Week from the 13th to the 16th of May. This year's theme centres around movement and how important it is for our mental health. So time to find out how dance plays its part with the Space to Speak Your Mind, Steph and Sarah talking to Victoria.
A space to speak your mind.
Hi Victoria, welcome back. I know you've joined us before. We'd like to hear about your Charleston dancing classes that you're offering at the moment. Could you tell us a little bit more about them?
Yeah, I would absolutely love to. So I am running 1920s Charleston dance workshops in Penryn at the Z Shed, and at the moment they're on an ad hoc basis, but the goal is to be once a month, and trying to build a good amount of participants who just love 1920s Charleston dancing and just generally kind of moving to music and having a good time. And the 1920s Charleston has a really rich history. It was a dance originally called the juba, which is part of Afro-Caribbean culture, and it exploded in 1920s speakeasies. So it was quite a rebellious dance of the flappers at a rebellious time when there was a prohibition but people still wanted to party.
And do you have to have any sort of dance experience? If they've danced before, if they haven't, if they're totally new to the whole concept, do they have any sort of prerequisites that they require?
So it's totally open to anybody of any ability. We do have some people that have been dancers before, or some people that are completely new to the style and just really want to learn some steps. And the brilliant thing about Charleston is the rhythm is quite a simple rhythm.
Yes, it is.
So it's quite easy to dance on the beat, and all the choreography that I design is quite easy to remember, and all of the moves have really great names like the windmill or granny's knees or thigh slaps. So quite a lot of them does what it says on the tin. So it's really easy to get to grips with.
And is age a restriction?
Age is not a restriction at all. So in the class, I think we have some people between the ages of 20 up to 70. And again, it's just if you love music and you love dance, then it's absolutely for you.
So do you have to be quite fit then?
You don't have to be quite fit. I'd say that Charleston itself is quite a fast dance, but we take lots of breaks and keep breathing.
It's always handy.
Which is important. But no, I mean, it's a great way to get fit, for sure. Dance or, any kind of exercise movement.
I'm going to say, by going by Strictly, it looks really energetic, doesn't it?
It really does. And actually, I think the Charleston is quite a favourite on Strictly. Everybody loves the costumes and the storytelling, and Craig Revel-Hallwood is always looking for that perfect swivel, isn't he?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I find it so much fun, and just you can't but tap your feet and start moving your hands, and I don't know, it has that kind of effect on me. I don't know if you have that same kind of feeling. You don't even have to have an appreciation for it as such, but I find it quite contagious.
Absolutely, it's a really joyful dance, and I think dance in general has amazing power to boost your well-being because it releases the positive chemicals from our brain, so dopamine or serotonin, which makes you feel joyful and full of life and energized and just that happy moment in time. And dance itself is such a mindful activity because you can't think about anything else when you're in a space dancing to a piece of music that you love. And if you're trying to learn some choreography, it's really great for using both the right and left side of your brain, and that can decrease your chances of dementia and other sort of neurological based disease.
You spoke about mindfulness, and obviously we all know it's very important for anybody, but especially if you're struggling with mental health. And like you say, you're totally focused on what you're doing, so it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. In that moment in time, that's all there is, and that's mindfulness in itself. And people often find that they feel they have to do something to be mindful, but it's just about being present in that moment and enjoying it. And there's so many rewards with regards to that, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah. And actually I got into dance because I grew up in quite a fractious environment. There was a lot of confrontation between my parents when I was growing up, and my nan actually took me when I was 5 to a ballet class, and I just didn't stop going. I've done all of my ballet grades, and I continued until I was 18, and then I went on to do it at college and then university. And for me, it was a really amazing place of escape and a kind of really positive way to work through some of those issues that was going on at home. And I think dance can be quite disciplined as well. You know, you have your warm up and then you might do some choreography and then you cool down, and the structure that it can bring to somebody who might have quite a chaotic lifestyle is really valuable as well.
For someone like me who finds it very difficult to get motivated, how would you get me interested?
That's a really good question, and there's a lot of different dance classes or tutorials on YouTube which anybody can access, and I think it does take quite a lot of confidence to go to a class with lots of people, and obviously it's great to have the social connection, but for somebody who doesn't feel as confident might want to try it at home first. And then once your confidence is built, or you're just enjoying it so much that you want more, and you also want that social connection at the same time, then maybe that's the step afterwards for sure. And I think word of mouth is a really powerful thing, and if you have friends or family that already go to something like that, if they can encourage you and say, you know, I'm going to be there, we'll do it together, that's a really powerful thing as well.
I think it's good that you mentioned about doing something on YouTube before, because they talk about muscle memory, and especially if you're new to the whole thing and maybe lacking the confidence, and you just follow some basic steps on YouTube, you can stop and rewind and do it over and over till you feel comfortable. So by the time you get to the class, you've got that little bit of basics of foundation, and then you don't feel as scared going to a class that you're providing, kind of thing.
Absolutely. I think we like to be prepared, don't we?
Yeah.
And fear of the unknown when you're trying anything new can be quite overwhelming and challenging for our mental health. So if you're a bit prepared in advance, or even if you've had that contact with the person that's leading the workshop, I think that really helps.
I know that obviously I saw a little bit on Facebook about yours, and I was intrigued and wanting to do it, but not knowing if I could physically do it. But I feel now that I've met you, I am going to throw myself in and have a go. I might be a little bit broken afterwards, but you know, I think just meeting you and knowing the love I have for the dance itself, you've got me there.
Oh, that was great, Sarah. Thank you.
I believe you do stretch and sculpt.
I know that dance in its purest form isn't for everybody, but I also know that the importance of keeping moving and reducing that sedentary lifestyle is really important for your mental and physical health. So where I live, in a village on the Lizard called Porthallow, I hire the village hall and I teach weight training and stretch class. So we do really simple movements that anybody can do with really kind of low weights, and we focus on arm strength, core strength and leg strength, and then we have a really good stretch at the end. And it's a really uplifting class actually, and I think I live in a really rural, isolated part of the Lizard, and I sometimes find that can really affect my mental health. So actually this has brought a lot of us in similar circumstances together, and I know we always really look forward to seeing each other, and we have a WhatsApp group and we check in with each other, you know, if somebody's missed the class. And it's just brilliant. It's such a great thing to do. And my body feels stronger afterwards, and I know that the participants do as well. And in terms of the significance of weight training, it can really increase your bone density, which helps prevent any falls or further injury if you go on to do other exercise. So it's a brilliant way to get your body moving. And like I said, that social connection at the class is amazing.
Obviously, you mentioned bone density, especially after your 40s, really important. And I think people with physical disabilities, and from a personal aspect, I know that I don't have the muscles to support the problems that I have. And the class you're doing is ideal for that kind of thing, to start slowly whatever weight you're able to and build it from there, and that supports your joints, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because it's coming from a place of community, I've gotten to know each participant quite well, so I can kind of have conversations with them about specific areas of their body that they feel need strengthening, or niggles they have. Maybe they've got issues with their back or their knees. So there's always variations for what I teach in order to help their specific issue that they're coming with. And I think that's really important as well. When you do any exercise or movement, it's kind of knowing your body and knowing how much you can stretch it or your limitations. And I think that's a really useful conversation to have with somebody that's leading an exercise class, for sure.
Because it's not about what everybody else can do or what they're doing. It's a personal journey, isn't it, really? And it's just getting there. And like you say, you're in quite a remote part of the country, but you've brought a whole lot of people together, and people that would have maybe never come across each other, and actually you're forming friendships, support, getting fit and stronger at the same time.
Exactly, yeah. And it is amazing just how going for a walk or having a stretch or just even a little spurt of movement can just really boost your energy and your well-being, and it just makes you feel great. It is really good. It's really important.
And Victoria, you've been down at Porthallow on the Lizard, speaking to Simon and Sharon from Strength and Sculpt. So let's listen to what they had to say.
Welcome everyone. So this afternoon I am joined by Sharon and Simon to talk about a fitness class that they attend called Strength and Sculpt. So guys, can you describe what the class is?
Well, the class happens once a week on a Wednesday, and I think it's fair to say that we just all really look forward to that Wednesday coming along. I think it's because the people that come are of the right mindset. They're there to have a really good time as well as really exercise and get the endorphins working and get that feel-good factor. It goes so quick, doesn't it? The hour that we're there, it whizzes by. We've got this brilliant instructor who just takes us through all the moves. And for me personally, it helps massively with the menopause and just gives me help with my anxiety and my hot flushes. And the exercise is just so great. All the flexibility and all of that is great for my bones. And I just feel that it's fantastic for my mental health.
I concur with all of that, but from my personal point of view, it is the people that I do it with. It's important for me. I'm of an age where I think use it or lose it. Just doing something on a regular basis, meeting people, lovely people that we get on with, and you can make it as hard or as easy as you wish. It's just really important. I just want to stay supple. I want to be able to enjoy my twilight years. This is a great way. It helps your mental health. You're in contact with people. I might be at home all day working. Some days I don't speak to anyone all day. So to know that on a Wednesday night I'm going down not only just to speak with people, but we do enjoy each other's company.
I guess we live in quite an isolated area on the Lizard, and actually it's fabulous to think that we have not only this evening, but as you say, these just great people that are all fun-loving and really add to the evening.
Indeed. I mean, it's my favourite thing to do on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
That was great to hear their feedback on the class. Clearly very worthwhile. Are your classes on a weekly basis?
Yes, we meet every Wednesday, and we only do it in Porthallow at the moment, but I'd be really interested to go to other areas of Cornwall and offer the same.
If people would like to get in contact with you, how could they go about doing that?
So it's best to drop me an email. My email is wholevictoria@gmail.com, and whole is spelt like hole in the ground, HOLE. So yeah, wholevictoria@gmail.com.
Fantastic, thank you. It's been lovely chatting to you.
Thanks so much, Bo.
A space to speak your mind with Cornwall Mind.
Thank you to Sarah and Steph, and also to Victoria. This is A Space to Speak Your Mind, and it is Mental Health Awareness Week from the 13th to the 16th of May. And time to find out from Kate Pearce from This Girl Can and Studio U why nearly twice as many girls than boys are skipping PE lessons.
A space to speak your mind.
Parents of young girls are being encouraged to support their children with physical education at their school, as new findings show almost half are avoiding the subject completely. Double the percentage of girls over boys stated they would drop the subject if given the option, and PE was selected as the subject most likely to be dropped by girls. They also admitted to skipping twice as many PE lessons in a school term, with just over a third saying, "I go because I have to and I don't enjoy it." As part of its ongoing mission to tackle the barriers girls face getting active, education platform Studio U has teamed up with the This Girl Can campaign to raise awareness of the benefits of PE for girls and boost the confidence of children across the country. Kate Pearce is the head of campaigns for This Girl Can and Studio U, and she joins me now. So thank you for being here, Kate.
Thanks for having me.
And can you just elaborate a little bit more about This Girl Can and just briefly how it came about and some of the core values?
Yeah, absolutely. So This Girl Can, we're in our 9th year, and it's based on the insight that some women felt this fear of judgment in being active, and it's about smashing those barriers and smashing that fear of judgment to emphasize the fact that women can be active in any way that works for them. It doesn't have to be done in a certain way.
So why are girls less comfortable than boys when it comes to PE?
Well, yeah, I think there's a variety of different reasons. With our research that we've just launched today, as you've alluded to, twice the proportion of secondary school girls would choose to opt out of PE than boys, and almost half of girls would never attend a PE lesson if given the choice. Some secondary school girls have labeled PE lessons as embarrassing or stressful, compared to some boys who find the class enjoyable and exciting. So there really is this enjoyment gap that we need to try and close between girls and boys. And the best way we've found in order to do that is by offering a range of choice and a range of different activities for girls to be able to participate in PE.
Can you tell me a bit more about what those particular things would be then?
Absolutely. So within This Girl Can, we have launched a physical education platform called Studio U, which is open to all teachers across the country. And it's a free Netflix-style digital library that's curriculum linked and is full of video-based lessons featuring a range of different exciting disciplines, from dance to combat to Pilates to fitness and to yoga. So what we're trying to do is broaden out the range for girls who might find that traditional sport isn't something that they enjoy, or they don't enjoy the competitive side of it, but just trying to find something that's fun and non-competitive for them to be able to enjoy.
And we're coming up to Mental Health Awareness Week, which I'm sure you might be aware of, the theme being movement and the benefit it has to our mental health. So why do you think it's so important that girls participate in PE at school?
Well, we know that experience with exercise in your teens can absolutely shape your relationship with getting active later in life. And we also know that physical activity brings many benefits for teenagers in terms of better focus, boosted confidence, and then, of course, feelings of self-worth. So it's really, really important that all girls should feel that PE is for them and they can find a way to be active that works for them.
And what are the long-term repercussions of girls that don't take part in PE from what you found?
Yeah, from what we found, they can have, and this is true for girls as well as boys, but we found that they can have a bit of a complex relationship with getting active, and they can find that they actually just don't participate in activity later on in life. So it is really important to be able to engage girls, particularly at a time when their bodies are changing and social networks might be changing, just to be able to have a release and an outlet for some of these changes that are taking place. But as mentioned before, it's not a one-size-fits-all model. It's really important to be able to understand what works for some girls might not work for others. So to be able to broaden out that choice that's available for girls to be able to choose from.
So I'm interested in that because I think PE back in the day, it was a case of everyone had to do the one particular thing, and everyone is built differently. Everyone has different skills and different abilities. So there would have been a time where children would have had to do a particular type of PE activity. But I think, as you're saying there, being able to find a particular thing that they enjoy, that's obviously going to build their confidence and lead them down a path where they will use physical activity in the future.
That's absolutely right. And we know that if somebody enjoys doing something, they're more likely to stick with it. We've also done some other research at This Girl Can that shows that 2.4 million fewer women than men strongly enjoy sport and physical activity. So that's 2.4 million women missing out on the opportunity to enjoy exercise and relieve stress and build connections and to improve self-esteem. So we really see this as a pivotal point in somebody's life, young childhood as well as the teenage years, to be able to start to form a love with being active, be able to not feel embarrassed or stressful when moving one's body. It's just about actually being active and be able to hopefully work through some of the worries and stresses that one might have. But again, it's down to choice and finding a particular form of activity that works for them.
Do you think the difference with the genders, is it a competitive one? Do you think boys are more competitive by nature, whereas girls are more collaborative? Is that something that you find within sport?
I think it depends on the individual. I do think that the organized team sports do tend to be more competitive, and so that will work for some girls. As we've seen with the Lionesses and the brilliant work they've done, girls and women's football is really taking off in this country, but we know it's not for everyone. And so it's important to ensure that we're finding methods for activity that does work for everyone. It's not just a one size fits all. It's not only about organized sport or competitive sport. It's about ways of being active, such as dance or combat or yoga and Pilates.
Can you tell me as well, for teachers and also maybe parents, there's nothing worse than parents that may be pushing their children too much into a particular activity, but we want to nurture young girls to participate. So what can the teachers do? And you've mentioned there are a few things as far as diversity in sport, but are there other things that can be done to help young girls take up PE and continue with sport throughout their lives?
Yeah, it's a really great question, because it really shouldn't just be about the girls or the individual itself. It's about ensuring that the places where girls and women are active are welcoming spaces where girls and women can feel comfortable exercising, that they feel safe there. But in terms of, particularly for teachers, Studio U, in addition to having these video-based lessons, also has a teacher's hub where it provides tips for lesson planning, as well as another hub to ensure that any barriers that girls might face, such as perhaps being on one's period or kit flexibility, to be able to discuss with the girls options for how best to be active while on their period. Because we know that if you do have gentle movement during one's period, then actually it can help alleviate some of those symptoms.
I suppose as well, for outside activities, I'm part of a tennis club and they have young girls activities, but they also bring in mothers and young children to take part. It's just finding a different way of bringing people in a space that they feel comfortable.
Yeah, that sounds like such a brilliant initiative, because we do know that if mothers are more likely to be active, we know that their children are more likely to be active as well. If, for example, there are organized sports for a particular team happening, if there's a way to be able to broaden out those sports to encourage others in the family to be able to play, or at least just test out the sport and give it a go or give it a try, that's the way to try and encourage it, which again links back to Studio U as well. What we're really trying to do is offer choice and a voice for these teenage girls so that they don't get left behind, so that they don't feel that PE isn't for them. So if people want to find out more, they can go to thisgirlcan.co.uk. But if teachers, for example, want to find out more about Studio U, they can go to thisgirlcan.co.uk/PE, and it'll give links in terms of how to get to Studio U, but also further information on the research and statistics that we've been talking about today.
So people can go online and they can find out more. Kate Pearce, who's the head of campaigns for This Girl Can and Studio U, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
A space to speak your mind with Cornwall Mind.
I'm Richard on the Space to Speak Your Mind for our May show, where Mental Health Awareness Week is running from the 13th to the 16th of May. And just a few moments ago, we were talking with Kate Pearce from This Girl Can and Studio U about why girls are less engaged in PE lessons than boys. So with their take on the subject, here's A Space to Speak Your Minds, Sarah and Victoria.
A space to speak your mind with Cornwall Mind.
I'm here with Sarah to talk all things PE. So we're having a think about our memories of PE and whether we think the focus of PE should change and how that might look. So Sarah, do you have any thoughts on your experiences of PE at school?
Well, I know that I tried to excuse myself from every single one, to the point of writing my own permission letter from my mother excusing me from the class. And I don't think so much that it was the physical activity. I felt very conscious when they were selecting teams, always being the last one chosen, or even having to get undressed and dressed in a communal area where everybody can see you. And I was very aware of my body and very shy and things like that. And even though I think I would enjoy the actual activity, the actual social part of it was just too much for me from an anxiety point of view.
I think PE from start to finish is incredibly exposing. Like you mentioned about the experience in the changing rooms at the start. There is a lot of body conscious people and that confined space and having the pressure of getting changed really quickly as well. And school can be quite a hard place. Not everybody is accepting of different body shapes and sizes in the changing rooms. And then, like you say, you might not be picked, you might be left behind. And also there's huge pressure to beat everybody else, win the race, whatever, it's like so much exposure and so much pressure. And I just don't think PE has enough joy.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, because the whole competitive side, to me, it just turns it a bit ugly. And it's really about having fun and participating, where, say, we were playing a game of rounders, I would be, okay, I'm up to bat next, and it would be the end of the world for me. It would feel that way if I wasn't able to hit the ball. And I good with any kind of ball game, but it was just that fear. And then when you become overwhelmed with something like that, then you're disabled and you're not able to hit the ball, which makes you feel even more conscious. And I think this just feeds into a sort of really ugly scenario.
I completely agree. I can completely relate to that feeling where you're stepping up and it's your turn to bat. And exactly like you say, as soon as you're having all of that fear and anxiety, it's gonna stop you from performing physically in the way that you're hoping. And then it's not going to happen from the get-go, is it, at all? Because you need to be in a focused and calm state and just believe that you can do it and you can achieve. But I just don't think PE lessons kind of prepares you mentally.
No, you feel you really do have your team on your shoulders and you're letting everybody down if you miss that. Whereas really in life, you're a child. If you miss the ball, you should be able to laugh at it, try harder next time. That's what it should be about, but it doesn't become about that. And possibly like myself, I certainly didn't tell anybody how I felt. And I just wonder how many people felt the same way. And you were saying how girls relate to PE with our chat beforehand and boys relate is very different.
Definitely. I think as a girl, feeling competitive for me isn't really a driver. I'd rather be doing some kind of physical activity that's maybe more sociable and maybe means that you can get to know other people and you can have your own individual journey throughout it. When I was at school, I loved sprinting. I really enjoyed sprinting and I enjoyed hurdles. And I think it was just because it was kind of me in that moment and there felt like not as much pressure in that particular activity. I have this really specific memory of hating high jump. I'm quite a petite girl. So I would run up to the high jump and then just stop so that I wouldn't have to jump because it's terrifying.
Do you know what? I'm just sitting here amazed that you could do hurdles. I know you are petite, I don't think I could do them if I was 6 foot and I could step over them. So I'm just mind-boggled at the fact that you could do that. But I totally relate to the high jump. I don't even think I attempted it because it was like, seriously, no.
And I remember netball teams and hockey teams, and there was a lot of aggression and a lot of frustration and friction between the teams and hostility and all of that stuff just, isn't a motivator. For some people it might be, but it doesn't make me feel joyous and connected and it doesn't lift me emotionally.
I feel the same way because I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who are competitive, but then play like-minded people so that you can both get whatever you need out of it. But I think there should be more and more opportunities to have a sort of very relaxed, more social approach to group or teams, so that, you know what, if it goes wrong, you can laugh about it. I think that's important, and I think more people would get involved if it was approached from that side of things. I think your sprinting and your hurdles, obviously it's you on your own, you're focused, you're doing it, you're not relying on anybody else. I used to do long distance running when I was younger, very much on my own, and I wasn't competing against anybody. It was just about me getting to the end and enjoying it.
Nice, yeah. That's a really nice image. Winning is such a short-term gratification. Even if you're playing a board game, you might be like, yes, I won. But it feels like it's kind of missing the point, because actually maybe you had a really nice time with your friends playing that board game. And I think exactly like you say, Sarah, there should be more emphasis on how are we doing this together, what is the experience all round, rather than that feeling of winning or losing at the end. Because that can't be great for your mental health either, especially if you're like, oh, our team's lost again, we're being relegated, etc., etc. It can't be great, can it?
Exactly, and I suppose it puts on the pressure for the following week. The next PE session is like, oh, we're not going to choose her because do you remember last week? I think it just adds to the whole thing and fuels how you feel inside, whether it be quite secretively. And what could they do to change their approach towards PE events to make it that much better?
Good question. So if we were rewriting the curriculum, it'd be really interesting to get to know what each young person is interested in terms of being active. So whether that might be dancing or swimming or walking, and maybe kind of deconstruct the competitive nature and look at what kind of benefits does it give me? What do each of these activities do for my physical health and my mental health? So I guess it's kind of about having your own journey and getting to know why being active is so important throughout all of your life. So I guess, maybe looking at PE as an opportunity to expand your knowledge on health and fitness in general, and then finding the activities that you get something from, which will then carry you through to your adult life. Because I guess the bonus of having PE in the curriculum is that you are having, whether you like it or not, you have to keep active. And I think as soon as we leave mainstream education, as an adult, we can become more sedentary in our lives. And that's not great for our health or our well-being. So I feel like it could do more to kit us out for our adult life and just become more invested in what we can do to stay active.
I mean, you were talking about being sedentary, and I know, if I reflect on myself, I know that I can be quite sedentary and not doing a lot of stuff. But whether I go to the beach or go for a walk in the woods and be very mindful, taking in the sounds of nature, and I find that can be very empowering and quite wonderful, because one, you're moving, because the worst thing you can do is not move. Whether you've got physical issues, mental health issues, you need to be moving, even if it's a little bit small and often kind of thing. But I know going out in nature definitely makes that, don't even consider it exercise. It's just more filling up my cup or soul enriching. Do you find that too?
Nice, I think that's a really good point, Sarah. So that element of being active in nature, and I suppose our PE sessions just make me think of like dusty school hall or the football courts or whatever, on the school grounds. But actually, if we can be thinking more about being active in our natural surroundings as well. I don't know for sure, but I think there are some schools in Cornwall that do look at some beach activities, so rowing or surfing as an option. That's cool, isn't it? That's a great way to connect with nature, your body, and boost your well-being.
Yeah, 100%. Also expose you to something that you could take on the latter part of life and enjoy it after school, because sometimes you might think of an activity and think, oh, I don't think it's for me, until you actually sort of dip your toe in and you're like, actually, okay, let's put the entire foot in and see how it feels. And I think it's wonderful. The other day when I was walking on the beach, there was a group of school kids and they'd all done a beach clean, which I thought was wonderful because, one, they were out in nature. It was a glorious day. They had the ocean and they were contributing to the environment by picking up any kind of garbage that had been left or washed in by the sea. And that being so important and them being aware of that impact. And I remember one of the little kids saying to me, when I said, well done, guys. And he said, yes, I've saved the entire world all on my own. And it's like, well, all it does take is one person to make a difference. It doesn't have to be big.
I think that's another layer, actually. So you could be doing an activity that's focused on cleaning a beach, because you can get a lot of steps up with those beach cleans.
Sure.
And so there's another layer there. So it's not just competitive activity. It's not just for yourself. It's actually helping the environment.
You don't even feel like you're doing exercise because you're distracted and you're doing something. There's no race. It doesn't matter how much. You just pick up what you see. And I think that's the best kind of exercise, when it actually doesn't feel like exercise. You're just enjoying it that much.
That's nice. I absolutely love that. Yeah, so accidental exercise.
Yeah, that sounds like right up my street.
Well, great chat, Sarah. I think we really thought of some alternatives to RP memories, at least, anyway. Thank you.
Thank you.
A space to speak your mind with Cornwall Mind.
Thank you to A Space to Speak Your Minds, Sarah and Victoria. Well, that's all for this month's show. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to you joining us next time for the June show.
If you missed anything on today's show, you can download the podcast right now on Apple, Spotify and Amazon podcasts.
For support and more information for better mental health, visit cornwallmind.org or call the Mind Helpline during office hours on 0300 123 3393.
There is a 24/7 NHS local urgent mental health response phone line. It's free to access by anyone, any age, on 0800 038 5300.
And don't forget, you can call the Samaritans anytime for free on 116 123.
If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can get in contact. Just email aspacetospeakyourmind@gmail.com.
And you can also find out more about the show if you follow Cornwall Mind on Facebook or Instagram, or on their website, cornwallmind.org.